Hey there, it's Dan here from Flexible, and I've just finished an incredible webinar with one of my students, Aaron Rowley. He's gone from 0 to 123K per month recurring in about 18 months now, and he's done it with car dealerships. Okay, and one of the add-ons that he's used, that he's currently offering his car dealerships, is a reputation and customer feedback AI. This stuff is really cool, and it's just blown up, right? So he reached out to me and said, I need to show your audience this and how it's working. So we've got a full webinar where he's showing you what he's doing. So without further ado, check it out, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye. Well, 161 people here. It's been a pretty popular little hook we've got here, Aaron. Thanks so much for everything you do for us. I just want to start out by saying that, you've been in the community and you've done nothing but give the entire time. You help with my Roya calls, and it's been an incredible journey watching you come into the community with literally no experience, and witnessing what you've done has been really inspirational, and I'm proud of you, man. It's been great.
Thank you very much, man. This is crazy because I remember we're approaching the 2 year mark since we first met.
I know, and that's a nice segue into a little story about your journey. Tell me a bit more about it.
Yeah, man. So, hi everyone. If those that don't know me, I'm Aaron. So I've been in this game for, as I just said, nearly 2 years now, and it all started from a mattress on the floor in my brother's apartment. One day I had a job just like everybody else. I was a guy with a van and a tool bag, and I would drive around and fix things. And at the word computer, I would wince, right? I'd be like, I don't know what that is. And then one day, I had met like an 18-year-old, and he told me he made like millions online, and I was in his house fixing his tap, and I
Nice.
I was like, oh my God, how do you do it? And he's like, money on the internet, and then that stirred in my brain like for ages, and I just thought to myself, you know what, I'm gonna give this make money online thing a go. So I quit the job, and then threw all my like stuff away, moved out of my place, because my brother said like, look, if you move in with me, you got nothing to lose. I was like, yeah, let's do it. So mattress on the floor, and then for around 6 months, I was just like chasing my tail, trying to speak to anyone and everybody that I could that was on the internet, because A, I had to learn what the internet was. B, I had to learn kind of what money is on the internet and how it flows, and see what things exist, like business models, jobs, all that good stuff. Because, prior to that, every time I'd ever asked anyone, like, hey, what do you do? I work from home. All right. Well, what does that mean? And they were like, oh, admin. I'm like, well, that's still not specific enough. I need to know what you do. And you just never get a straight answer from anyone. So,
Yeah.
after 6 months of just wasting time, um, I, watched a few YouTube gurus and all that stuff who speak about Facebook ads. And
Yep.
I sent some DMs, and I managed to get myself a few clients on like a performance-based offer. So this is before I discovered, your training. So it wasn't a 50-50 split on the back end. It wasn't anything glorious. It was like £1,000 a month to cover the ad spend and the tools. And then it was like 10% of every close on fireplaces. And I ran the ads. And I followed some YouTube videos, and then I sat there and watched for Facebook lead notifications for like 4 days without blinking. And I'd fall asleep, and then wake up like 4 hours later, like, oh no, leads. And then
Yep.
in the end, that got too tiring. So I Googled how to get notifications every time you get a new Facebook lead. And then just by design, like by happen chance, I found Go High Level. I watched some YouTube videos on Go High Level, and 36 hours later, I had my notifications that I wanted, so I could actually, leave the house. And B, I was able to send text messages on autopilot. So I'm like a night owl, so I would stay up till maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I wake up around lunchtime, and what I was finding is I was getting leads to reply. I was getting leads from the Facebook ads, and then they were replying to my text messages. And my message was, "Hey, it's Aaron from XYZ. I see you just inquired to my ad. Is it okay if I call you in a few hours? I'm just a bit busy right now." They would all reply yes. And then I'd wake up at lunchtime with a whole bunch, like 4 or 5 people to call, set the appointments, and then the client would go out and do their thing. And
Well,
they weren't very big companies, so they didn't have solid processes or sales, or sales teams or any of the stuff that we know today to be, what makes a good client. And I was kind of just living off the £1,000 a month and then a couple closes here and there of the 10%. And then when the season changed and it stopped being winter, people stopped wanting fireplaces. Funnily enough.
Okay.
And people actually like ones like this where you could just turn it off with a button, right? So I remember I was sitting there feeling sorry for myself. Oh no, I've lost my clients. And that's when I see, your first ad on Instagram. And it was we use Go High Level and Chat GPT, so two things that I've just learned about. And I was like, oh, okay. And we use it to make money, and we don't run ads, and there's no ad spend, there's no leads, there's no nothing. And after reading through the Google Doc that I'm pretty sure everybody else here has read a version of,
Yeah.
you got me with the free snapshot. I was like, I know what a snapshot is. So I threw it together, followed at the time, the 5-day challenge video. I smashed through that.
Yeah.
I smashed through that in a couple hours. It was easy stuff. Turns out it wasn't easy stuff for a lot of people. So I was, pretty gifted. So then I spent my entire time networking through the community, just speaking to every single person, as many people as I possibly can. And that you noticed that.
Yeah.
And was like, hey, who are you and what are you doing in my community? I hope you're not selling to anyone. And I was like, I promise, I'm not.
I
I'm just trying to learn.
remember that.
And then, you and the team tried to get me into Roya. I had to politely decline because I had nada to my name. And then,
Yeah.
fast forward like a month or two later, you saw that I was, learning a lot, speaking to a lot of people. You offered me to
Yeah.
be one of the tech terminators, and when you did, I don't think I've ever told you this, but I cried. I was like, oh,
No way, man. That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Amazing.
And then after doing that for like, 3, 4 months, I've found, I worked with a few different partners and I'd learned what made a good one, what made a, not a bad one, but, one that I don't want to be a part of and all that good stuff. And the good partnership, the one guy was able to close, 3 car dealerships in a very short time window. And in that time window is where we're going to talk about, the first client that we got and where we got the idea for this reputation management system.
Yep.
So first client came from a friend of a friend of a friend who owned a marketing agency that worked with car dealerships. And he said, look, I don't know what you guys do. I don't care about AI. I don't care about absolutely anything. I'm just here because it's a friend of a friend of a friend. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to quote this, so if anyone doesn't like swearing, I'm sorry, but he said, I'm going to give you my fuck you, I'm not paying you anything client. And if you can extract money from him, then I know that you guys are good at what you do. So,
Nice.
fast forward a month, we've, ran the database reactivation campaign. And then, in the background, silently, I ran the customer feedback Android as well. At the end of the month, when it's time for to request money from the client, he said, hey, how much are you guys asking for? And we said $1,500. And he said, I'm not paying that. And then I said, okay, no worries. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this list of all of the problems in your business that your customers have told us about, and I'm just going to delete it. And you guys cannot know what's broken. And then that tweaked his interest, and he was like, what do you mean problems? My dealership is perfect. I was like, not according to 700 of your customers, And
No.
that exchange there was able to, now that one client has paid us over $40,000. They've been with us since last February. I gave Natalie the figures the other day, but I didn't realize halfway through the process we've actually doubled what they pay us. So Natalie said that we figured out that they paid us 25K, but it's not. They've actually paid us 40 over the period of time. That's just one client. And it's all because we did this. What I'm going to show
Yeah.
everybody today. So
Nice.
at the time we were doing calendar link AIs, and I thought to myself, like, why don't I just play with this guy and rebuild it so that it's asking for feedback and trying to boost the Google reviews, because I heard online that that was a thing that people provide. And yeah, it came back with so much negative feedback. Like I couldn't believe how much bad stuff. I thought it was going to be a good thing that we were going to get loads of feedback, loads of reviews, but it was a complete opposite. And I was like, oh my God. And then that's when my partner, who, has lots of dealership experience, said, no, this is a gold mine. Like this is what we need. So I think that's
Nice,
a good, segment into
nice.
the presentation in a second.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, um, just to kind of recap, you started with not much, you helped a lot of people inside my community, and then you started selling to car dealerships. Like it just happened. I mean, I'm sure you tried some other industries, but car dealerships where you ended up. And can I ask a question? Do you always start with what I call the offer of the century? Like when you're talking to the car dealerships, how does that work?
So we started with the offer of the century, pay us on commission.
Right.
And then over time, I because I've done it with so many industries prior to the dealership thing, I noticed that with the offer of the century, it seems to be like industry specific. So for example, if you're talking to a solar company and you ask for a retainer, they're going to tell you to jog on because they only do pay per close.
Yep.
If you speak to a legal firm, they're probably going to want retainers because they like retainers. Their entire industry revolves around retainers, and it's the same thing with dealerships. So we asked for commission, and they just laughed at us and showed us the door basically. And then we said, well, what if you just do a retainer instead? They said, actually, we would love to do that.
Nice. But you always start with their database, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the
That's what
service,
you do now. That's what you do.
yeah. So the service remains the same. It's just the compensation that
The
gets
model's
paid.
different. And then we'll talk about this later, but then you include the reputation and feedback Android as part of the deal, which makes things stickier, right? Especially if you're on a retainer.
Exactly.
Nice,
Obviously,
nice,
for those of you that don't know, like retainers, the aim of the game is just to keep them paying for as long as humanly possible. So then that's where the money stacks in.
nice. And where are you guys at now as an agency?
$123,429 a month.
Nice. Amanda knows his numbers. And I mean, for those of you who are new in this AI game, or you haven't run an agency before, you haven't got clients. I mean, you're literally talking to the guy that went from zero, not even having a laptop and not even knowing how to switch it on, to doing what he is today. But I tell you something though, Aaron is out of, the people I've seen in my community is probably the guy that has the most get up and go and will just not take no for an answer. So if you're struggling, Aaron's the guy to talk to and kind of take inspiration from because it's just an incredible story. All right, so let's kind of move on then. So reputation and feedback Android. I'll let you take the screen, mate, and we can go from there. I'm just gonna like ask some questions as you go if something pops up. For everyone else, is the chat function working now? Everyone.
I'm not seeing anything in the chat.
I'm not seeing anything. That should be taking care of that. I think she's having problems with a laptop. But if it's not, please just ask, like, save your questions to the end. And what we'll do is we'll go through the questions with Aaron in the Q&A function.
Yeah, I'm just having a few issues. I'm just trying to get it now.
All
Two
right, cool.
seconds.
No worries. Thanks, Nat. All right. So, Aaron, I'll let you take control and let's just go from there.
Yeah, man. So reputation and feedback Android, everybody. So I figured this out along the way, right? All business. Oh, and I'm going to start the premise with this. I'm an AI text message agency, not a design agency. So if you're expecting great graphics here, this ain't the place for you. Okay.
Speaking my language, man.
So yeah, I figured out that all businesses work the same way, regardless of, it doesn't matter whether you're a car dealership, barber shop, plumbing company, or whether you're a babysitter, right? All businesses work the same way. You get a customer, you deliver on the promises that you made them to get them. You then ask them for feedback, make improvements based on feedback. If you have good feedback, leverage it in your marketing and your testimonials, and then you do it all over again. And it's just a constant loop of the same simple flywheel.
That was my question. That was my question, right? Because you've built this incredible system for car dealerships. What type of niches and what type of clients do you think will use this or will need this, and what can you charge them?
It's literally for any business. So any business that collects phone numbers in any point of the sales process, you can use this for. So, if you work and then use that as like a side tool. So if you approach a business and say, I got this thing for you, we just need to make sure that you're collecting phone numbers, and they say, we don't collect phone numbers, there's an entire new system that you can offer, right? And then from there, you need to make a decision on whether you want to do it as like a database reactivation style thing, or more of like a speed to lead, but speed to sold kind of thing. And then, or you can do both. And the pricing of it depends just on who you're working with. So, if I'm gonna do it in like 3 stages. So, if you're just getting started and you've got absolutely zero experience and you don't know where to start, then my recommendation is just try small and local and small low ticket, $297 to $500 a month.
So your local plumber or something like that.
Yeah, anything tiny and local, and it doesn't, it's not so crazy if you make a mistake here and there, because you're not charging thousands or millions of dollars for what you're doing. You're charging a couple hundred, and anyone can afford to lose that. Then, you can graduate from there to working with maybe like slightly larger regional style businesses. So maybe you go from small plumber to company of 10 plumbers, right? And then at that point, what you're doing is worth more to the business. So you can add another 0 or 2 onto the end of what you're doing. So if you're working with a singular plumber for $349 a month, well, you can work with a bigger company for $3,490 a month, for example. You're doing the same work, you're just doing it at higher volume and providing way more results. So you get to charge accordingly. But then you also get the higher level game, as they say. So, some of you may already be here, some of you may need to work your way up to it, and some of you may just think, you know what, I'm going to do this. You can approach way bigger businesses that are doing, millions in revenue, and you can say, hey, I have a system and a whole bunch of tools and a strategy that I can help you, increase your revenue from where it is now to by 5%. And if we can increase that number by 5%, would it be reasonable to ask for 10% of that improvement? So if we can help you achieve going from 100 million a year to 105 million a year, 10% of that improvement is 500 grand, which isn't too bad.
Nice. Okay, well, let's crack on. So where are we at? Sorry to interrupt, but people are already asking. I want to see how it works. I want to see how it works, which is going to be cool. So I want to show people.
Yep.
Right, yep.
So I just wanted to throw this here. So like 70% of all traffic on Google make their clicks within those red boxes. And if you notice, one of those is the review section. And the way Google works is even if you have 10,000 reviews, it doesn't matter unless they're all within the last 90 days. So, the more reviews you're getting, good or bad, that's going to affect your SEO way more than the 10,000 that you've got from the last 10 years or whatnot. So reputation is everything. And then the Android on the side of things, it doesn't sleep. It reaches out all the time. It's completely personalizable. So we're not in the age of, templated messages and everything sounding robotic anymore. You're getting feedback on autopilot. So where companies are usually paying hundreds of thousands every year for front-end minimum wage customer support work, we can help replace some of that with automation. And there's zero guesswork anymore. So we're not going, oh, we think our customers are unhappy with this, because we now know. And then you can obviously scale it into the stratosphere because you don't need to hire 10 guys to man the phones. The AI just keeps going and go. You can just scale it infinitely. And then that makes everything cha-ching ready. So every single conversation with any person whatsoever, it's not just data, it's complete revenue driver. So,
I've got a question. Sorry to jump in. So from what I understand, what we're doing here is going after the customers, right? And after they've been sold, moving them to a Google review if necessary. If not, and they're not happy, then we send that feedback to the client, right? And kind of bypass the Google review. So would it be feasible, for example, to have like a client with 100,000 customers, 50,000 customers, and be able to send it, what you're teaching here today to those 50,000 people and turning them into 1,000 reviews in literally like a day? Is that possible?
Yep.
Have you done that, or are you doing it more on a speed to lead basis where the client comes in via one of the leads from your database reactivation stuff, engages, goes into the dealership, buys, and then you're sending, as soon as it moves to sold inside the client CRM, I imagine that's when it kicks in. So more of a kind of speed to lead reputation management than a database reaction.
Yep. And you can even look at it like this. If say I'm running speed to lead on the sales side,
Yeah.
lead comes in, AI contacts them, what car you're looking for, cash or finance, all that good stuff. Would you like to speak to someone? Yes, please. Salesperson takes over. Appointment happens in dealership. Car gets sold. Wait 3 hours. Give them time to drive home and feel the car out and all that stuff. AI then reaches out again, and a different AI, and goes, "Hey, this is Sarah from the customer success team. Did you just buy this car?" Yes, I did. And then the conversation can go like kind of one of three ways. It's either we're going to say, um, could you give us a rating out of five? Five being the best on how your overall experience was with us. If they say 4 or 5, that's good. So if they say 5, that's perfect. We want to go to a Google review. If
Yeah.
they say 4, we want to ask what could make it a 5. If it's like a minor reason, then we can still push for a Google review. But if it's 1, 2, or 3, we don't want that to go to Google. We want it to go to the internal sales team so they can help fix the problem and make it become a 5-star review.
For the review. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that's in a nutshell how this works, guys. And we'll show we've got a live demo, and I'm going to ask for a panelist actually to kind of give us some answers to the questions. I'll put you on the spot there, Aaron, but I'm sure that's okay, right?
So good. So good. And then I guess as well, just to touch. So the Google reviews is like a side effect. Our main concern, and this happens across industries across the board, is if you're in like a franchise style business. So say we go buy a McDonald's, right? It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
our dealership. McDonald's care about how we are servicing McDonald's customers, even though I own the franchise. So if I do a bad job, McDonald's are going to pull the funding. All right, they're not going to give us any special treatment. They're going to ruin us, and that's basically what happens in the dealership world with new cars. Is they send out a survey like a couple days after the car's been purchased, and if they
Yeah.
get anything less than a 5, it's trouble. So this is the main driver for us for what we do, and this is like the
Yeah.
value that the dealerships get out of it.
Yeah.
Same thing applies to many other.
Makes sense, right? Because they want to protect their reputation. If you're a Ford dealer, right? If you're a Ford manufacturer and you're sending your cars out to all these different dealerships, then if one or two of those manufacturers are like giving Ford a bad name, then they're going to they might even take away Ford from their dealership, right? Or they might cut funding or whatever. So it's cool.
So this is typically what a campaign will look like if we run a database reactivation campaign. And in the early days, that negative feedback rate of 58.44% would crucify me, but this is actually the good part, right? No one cares about the good stuff. Everyone in a business, people only want to know about the bad stuff. So if we contact, like we have here, 231 people and we get 77 people reply, which is the average, 30% response rate we see across everything, apart from speed to lead on the sales side.
Yeah.
We're going to see like it's almost 50-50. It's 60-40 split of people unhappy versus happy. So the positive people, great, go leave us a review. But we can see 45 people are unhappy, and we need to fix their problems, and that's huge. So I'm going to give you some, examples of the conversations that some of my AIs have had, in the real world, and then at the end we'll go into,
Can I ask, for those of you on the call, can anyone tell me what the Prince Charming SMS is? And I want to ask you, Aaron, are you using a version of that to be able to get a reply for this?
Yeah, like a very similar conversation structure. So it's, hey, is this the same Aaron that bought the 2024 F-150 from us? Yes. Perfect. I had a note to give you a call, but I didn't want to disturb you. What's your favorite thing about your vehicle so far?
So it's like a two-stage SMS that we teach in on the lead side, and we're using the same kind of thing on the review side.
And just for the record, I use that same framework for everything I do, like everything. I've tried everything, and I always just come back. Like
I think it's $1 billion SMS. I really do. I think it's going to make that many sales. It's great.
All right, so we're gonna go into some real world examples. So they're pretty simple. I've obviously blurred out names of dealerships for privacy and whatnot. Yes, I'm Kayla. Oh, so this is a bit of an older one, and then they've come back with, of course, I'm Kayla. I use this one just to show people that it's real, because people can be a little bit not there. Oh, too good. I give it a clear 5 because it's just the car I needed for my work and good customer service. So the important part here is the because, right? So we can say, can we have a good, can we have a review? But because we've added a because, that's more likely to get them to drive. So if you obviously go look at
Sure.
studies in marketing, if there's a because, people are more likely to do the thing. And then yes, I will send the link, and then there is her review. So an excellent experience of buying and first car perfect for any task. Apart from good experience, is professionalism and its quality. Very professional. She's terrible at speaking English, but she left the review. And then obviously we used AI to then reply to the review as well. So thank you, Kayla, for your exceptional feedback. We're delighted to hear about your positive experience and commitment to professionalism. Your satisfaction is our priority. So we got the review and we use AI to reply to it, which that also does wonders for the business's Google reputation as well. And then here's another one, in case anyone wants to see it. So yes, it is. So she bought the car for her son. So it's for my son. He loves everything about it. 5, because Zach was great to work with, made things easy for us. Yes, I can do that. Review left. That's simple.
Wow.
Then we got some negative examples as well, because obviously this is the gold.
If
So
you, sorry to jump in. If you, I know it's going to depend on the industry, and also the quality of the data and whether it's speed to lead or older stuff, right? But like out of 100 customers, how many do you think you can get reviews from, and how many people will be sent back for feedback?
it's a very much like dependent on the business you're working with kind of question. Because if you're working with a bunch of cowboys,
Yeah,
you're not going to get that many bits. Assuming that you're working with a good,
good client.
upstanding business,
Yeah,
does business right. If you text 1,000 people and you get 300 reply, and you've managed to get like 100 of those people to say yes, I'll leave a review, expect like 25 to 50% of them to leave the review. So you won't get all of them, but and like I said, if you add the because, it made it jump from like 10 to 25% to 25 to 50%.
nice, nice.
So let's go through some negative examples. So hey, yes, smooth ride, just waiting to be contacted on the bodywork and tires that y'all are doing for me. And then the AI said, and then he comes back with a 2.5. Honestly, it ended better than it started. Couldn't get anyone's help and struggled to find someone with knowledge of the lot. Once Austin took over, it was great. I was there for 5 hours yesterday. And then, so the key thing here is when my AIs say the words over to management, that's the trigger phrase to send it to the customer success team. So even though the guy here said it's all good, man, Austin took care of me, the AI still sent it to the management team. So because that's a no bueno. And then we got another one here. So is this you guys text in and say you need the car back? I can be there in 15 minutes. He said, I'm only kidding to bring it back. I ordered a suspension replacement for it. Although I could go back, I could probably make a. And then the AI said, and then he said, so sales is a 5 and purchasing is a 1. So, he's given his whole, life story into why.
Nice.
It wasn't that great.
This is powerful, man. So powerful.
I'm sure even, if you was to see this information from, flexible stuff, you'd be like, oh man.
Yeah, I'm going to do it for us for sure. I've just seen Murray Wilkinson, who I actually get my cars from. When I got my Porsche for that high level pace for, I went to Murray, and he's a car dealer or a car broker, and he's been in the industry for I don't know how many years, but I'm sure he's going to be blown away from this.
I actually spoke to Murray about 6
Ah,
hours.
you
Yeah.
lovely guy. All right, mate, keep going.
Okay, cool. So the reputation management overview system, making consulting easy. So, the AI is probably 80% of the work, but the money is made on the 20. Okay. So High Level recently have made a huge update to their reputation management system, and that's including AI. So imagine me and you, Dan, if I closed you as a client and said I will help you grow your business based on customer feedback. And then part of my promise is that I'm going to go through every single one of your reviews on a periodic basis and pull out notes on things that we can improve on. How much time would that take me? It would take me forever. Not anymore. So as you can see, this store here in particular, they have good service and friendly staff, but they have poor communication, high pressure sales tactics, and pricing issues. So I would come back to you and say, look, these are the three things that we desperately need to work on because this is what your customers are posting about your business publicly. So let's, brainstorm some ideas. I'm going to pull up ChatGPT. We're going to give it as much information as we can, and we're going to really do some stuff to fix those issues in your business. And that's the consulting aspect of it. So it
Nice.
can actually be that simple.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, these dealerships, they wouldn't have this feedback normally, right? Like they just wouldn't have it.
No.
All they'd see is poor reviews.
Yeah. They'll just see 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. They don't actually bother to read them. No, many.
And how do these dealerships normally deal with these bad reviews? Experience with before your stuff.
They don't, they'll just typically they might see it and they might call them, but the front end support staff who manage all this stuff, they don't really care for the most part, because it's minimum wage and minimum effort mentality.
Yeah.
It's like when you're an employee, it's the customer's fault. It's you never take responsibility when you're as an employee unless you're an A player, and if you're not. And that's kind of where this stuff is golden because it doesn't matter about A players, B players, or C players anymore because there's only AI.
Yeah, powerful. All right, crack on.
Yep. And then as an added layer of protection for all of the customers, we have what's called the review shield system. So the review, I'm pressing the back button there. So I found this in the high level community like a while ago, and then I rebuilt it to make sure it actually worked and functioned because it was just completely broken. So high level were giving it away and it didn't work, and I was like, nope, I'm not having this. So I've put a lot of time and a lot of hours into fixing all the codes and all that stuff. So imagine I sign up a store as a client, and then as a welcome package, we send them a box, and it's filled with QR codes, and I don't know if I've got the NFC scanner things in here. No, so we give them these little wooden cards that have you can tap your phone against, and then they open up a web page, which is one of these. And then if they press 4 or 5, it takes them to Google. And if they press 1, 2, or 3, it pulls up a form to try and collect the feedback. Now, obviously, a lot of people, when they do this, it's uncompliant because they don't give the option to still leave a review anyway. Whereas what I did a lot of research into it, and I found that I don't know if we can see it in the bottom of the screen here, it's underneath the button. It says if you still want to leave a negative review, you can click here.
Is this so this is for the 60% of people that give a negative feedback, right?
Yeah.
So we don't send them straight to Google because we don't want them to leave a review.
Well, no, sorry. So the AI is the review shield conversationally.
Yes.
But this is for all of the people that are in the store and say when you go to a restaurant and sometimes there's a QR code on the table and it's please leave us a review and there's not, and then it takes you straight to Google. Well, you can put a button in between that. So the AI is the review shield conversationally, but physically we can put this anywhere where there's just a link for someone to visit.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Nice.
And then obviously there's a happy face, sad face one because everybody loves options. Yep. So I built that for everyone. And like I said, QR codes. If anyone wants to give it a go and give Visconta a 5-star review, it's right there on screen for you to give it a go.
Always be selling, mate. Always be selling.
But yeah, if anyone wants to give it a go, just honestly, feel free.
I'll leave it up there for a few minutes. Go and leave Aaron a review, guys.
I'll leave it up there for a couple seconds.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go 3, 2, 1. All right. Next. So these are some of the reviews from some of our clients. So if anyone wants to see if it actually works, so over the last few years at ABC Group, and this is a group of stores that have 20 dealerships, and we have we've used several decent tools and managed our reputation, and this one by far is the best around. It's completely automated. It's not just asking for reviews, it's asking how the customer, how everything was, so we can get in front of any issues may have, because everyone always only just focuses on we'll get you more reviews, and we're trying to do
that's nice, right? But it's not the main goal.
Yeah. And now that's the end of the slideshow, so we can go.
All right, let's take it for a spin then. First person, actually, is there anyone in the car industry that wants to demo this?
Oh, I tell you what, I built the demo around a roofing company.
Oh, a roofing company. Okay, fine. That's fine. All right. Well, anyone who wants to raise their hand will and wants to talk. All right, I've got John Marenko. He's the first person I saw. So I'm going to let John, I'm going to unmute him. Where is he? Oh, John Marenko. Here we go. I'm going to allow you to talk, John.
Hey guys,
Hey, buddy. How are you?
great. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. Where are you calling in from?
I'm in Chicago area.
Nice. The Chicago Bulls, man. Used to be my team.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, let's go ahead, Aaron. So I guess John, you just kind of answer as you see fit. So this is for a roofing company.
Yep. So imagine John. What's up, John? Nice to meet you, bro.
Hey, nice to
Um,
meet
so imagine you just receive this as a text message, right? So hey, this is Samantha over at Mile High Roofing. So I made a fake roofing company in Colorado. So there's not if this is a real company and you own this company, I didn't do this on purpose. This is fake, right? Is this the same first name? So is this the same John who recently had their roof replaced by us? So
Yes.
yes. Okay. Let's just wait for it to do its thing and come up with a response. Right on. Congratulations. Like I said before, I'm part of the customer success team, and my boss asked if I could just check in with you and see how everything is going. What's your favorite thing about your new roof?
Oh, that's a good, great question. Looks great.
Literally try anything. Say anything you want, mate.
Be a
Looks
little.
great.
It looks great. We're just
Hey.
getting to that, yeah? Cool. Don't wait for the response. Appreciate it. On a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate your experience with Mile High Roofing Co?
A 5.
A 5. Okay. Wait for the response. Sweet, thanks. Would you be open to leaving us a quick Google review? It's honestly the most powerful way you can support the business, costs nothing, and takes less than 20 seconds. Would you like me to send you the link?
Yes.
Yes. We can be a little more creative than yes, no, by the way.
Let's be a pain in the ass on the next demo.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
As you can see, solid thank you. Here's the link. Really appreciate you taking the time. If you ever need anything, just reach out. Have a great night.
Okay. So what if I have a problem? If I say, what about the leak or something like that? So,
Yep. So we'll just refresh the chat and we can be a so and so.
just type in who.
Yeah. Perfect. So who? Hey there, just checking in. Is this the same person who recently purchased a roof replacement with us at Mile High Roofing Co? So I gave it specific instructions to never start the conversation until it confirms who they're speaking to. So because we don't want to.
Remember as well that this person probably just paid $25,000 for a roof or something. So the quality of the data is going to be really good, right? Like you're going to get extremely high response rates. And someone just asked, then do they have to be opted in? Yeah, of course they do. Especially, I mean, they're going to be fine being contacted if they're a customer, right? Like that's just the way.
So Dan, I've got roofing companies. Wouldn't it make more sense to say, is this the name? Is this John who just first? Because it seems a little bit impersonal. Like, is this the same person?
Well, the reason why we do this is why we're talking about the Prince Charming SMS, right? This is why it gets such high response rates. It's been carefully crafted to get huge response rates. So I would stick with the formula.
And I would add as well that above all things else, we need to take data protection very seriously. So I don't ever get my AIs to have conversations with anybody until it's confirmed it's speaking to the right person. Because even when you've sold someone a roof, you can get a typo in the phone number, right? And that's no bueno.
Okay, good point. Good point. What's the favorite thing about the roof? I don't know. Just what's the most blatant negative that?
I love that. Oh, the most blatant negative. It's leaking.
It's leaking.
Leaking.
And I feel ripped off.
And
Kids around me feel ripped off.
I'm gonna flex on that typing speed there. There we go. So I'm really sorry to hear about this, your experience in this. Can you tell me a bit more about when you first noticed the leak?
God, I love
Last night when I'm trying to go to sleep. This is super annoying.
that.
Okay. How many people have we got watching us right now?
And yeah, so this, and it's just asked, does it say the name in the intro message? That's what the contact name in brackets is. It will pull the name from the database or
So
from
yeah,
the CRM.
it's a piece of code where in Go high level it swaps the piece of code for the person's name. It's dynamic. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. I totally get why you'd be frustrated. Could you let me know if you've noticed anything else or if it's just happening in your kid's room?
Yeah, just say kid's room. I need to talk to somebody.
All good. Understood. I apologize for your experience with us. Let me get all of this feedback over to management and see what we can do. Someone from our team will be reaching out to you directly. And then that would obviously send a notification to 3 people from the customer success team of Imaginary Roofing Company and say, hey, this person is annoyed.
Perfect. Yeah.
When do people see the shield page?
That's like we don't do that with the AI.
Oh, we don't do that with the AI. We only do that in store type thing.
We offer the review shield as an additional another. Yeah.
I see. Cool.
Yeah, because the AI is the layer of protection here, right? Because what we don't want to do is go too crazy with like, please click this, and then you get them to click it and then divert them from page to page to page. We want it to be as easy as possible. So the AI is handling the negative people. It's only like the review shield is there for when there isn't an AI to save the day kind of thing.
Amazing. Nice one. And how have you seen the clients handle these reviews when they come in? Are they usually proactive, or what have they done with all of this cool stuff?
Well, in the early days, not much action was taken upon it whatsoever. And one of the things that I'm a huge proponent of, and this is what we try to do differently, is we take account management more seriously than anything else. So if we see that the client is not acting on this stuff, we will just go straight over the manager's head, straight to the owner, and say, look, dude, you're paying us all this money, and your team is not doing anything about this. And then that gets him going.
Yeah. I guess I mean, the thing that immediately popped into my head was like, oh shit, what happens if it's going to create more work for a roofing company than they would like because there's so much shit going on in their business? And I guess that's a byproduct of a bad business, right? Like, well, has that happened to you, Aaron?
Say that one more time. Sorry, I was posting the demo link in the chat for everybody to give it a try.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So what happens if tons of bad feedback comes into the business and they're overwhelmed with it? It costs them more money than they're paying you.
Well, that's the point, right? Like we wouldn't be doing this for them if that's why they get us to do it, to find the problems. Is if they have a million problems, we have the backgrounds timed out as well. Yeah, if they've got a million problems, like there's more problems to fix, right?
There's not a good client.
There's more. No, but if they actually want to improve and they actually want to grow, it doesn't matter whether there's one problem or whether there's 100. Like the point is, we found them and we didn't do much to find them.
Yeah, exactly. Good answer.
Hey, could I ask a question here?
Yeah, man.
Go ahead.
Dan, we talked about I was pitching the dealer
Yeah.
today. So in your Aaron, in your experience, so this dealer that I was talking to on Saturday, I was talking to the GM. He said, "Oh, we don't have any problems with our system. We have pretty much 5-star on the surveys, on the OEM surveys."
Mhm.
Have you ever talked to a GM who has said that when then you did the campaign and you found the problem?
I have never spoken to another business owner that doesn't think their business is a ray of sunshine when they're talking about it. So even if they're filled with problems, they're not going to admit that immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's quite an ego thing if you just turn around and say like you have loads of problems. You have to very much address it sensitively. So, how you frame the question is like, so how's your reputation going? We're great, all 5 stars. Okay, great, all 5 stars. So I'm just going to pull up Google and just verify that information in front of you on a screen share. Ooh, 4.2. Right? Like you gotta be so blunt, so direct, like, but also nice. It's you have to approach the situation very sensitively.
Right. Okay. Perfect.
Cool. All right. So where are we, Aaron? Can you put your last screen back on?
Yeah, I can do. We have run through the whole slide though.
We're finished, right, aren't we? So before we do the Q&A, Aaron's put an incredible deal together for you guys on how much it's going to cost if you want it for your own agency. I'm not very good at selling, and I don't do those. Well, I'm good at selling, but not live like this, and I'm not very good at pitching in webinars. I freaking hate it. So we've got one of our famous Google Docs, which I think Nat's going to post in the chat box now. If you guys want to read that, please do, and then we'll just get into some questions with Aaron, and we'll start. It's very hard. There's a ton of people here, and there's a ton of chats. So we're gonna do it in the Q&A box. So I'm gonna read them out, Aaron, and you just answer them.
Yeah, man.
All right, cool. So the chat's just so I can see it. All right.
And I will say, can we try and keep the questions like away from the dealership space and try and keep them more about business related? Because
We'll try. There's obviously lots of people with car dealerships here. What motivates you while working with car dealerships? It's a bit of a random question, but
I'll be honest, it could have easily have been a kitchen and bathroom remodeling like niche I could have been in. I lent on the unfair advantage of those around me at the time, and that was.
You had a super connector, right?
I was just surrounded by people that had industry specific experience, and I didn't know where to start, so we rolled with that.
Yeah. Yeah. When super connectors see this kind of stuff working, right, and the penny drops, they will work for you if you can incentivize them. They'll work for you hard, which is what you found out, Aaron.
An interesting thing to know is that to this day, I've never stepped foot inside of a car dealership.
Really?
Never.
That's crazy. Do you have anyone else working with you, or you're able to do it all?
No. So in the early days, yes, I was able to do it all. But the biggest piece of advice I can give anyone that's in the very beginning of their stages is if you don't know anything, don't try and learn everything all at once. Try and surround yourself with people who have the meta skills that you don't have. So when I started, for example, I wasn't very good at sales, so I brought on a sales guy. I wasn't very good with managing money, so one of my partners, I made sure that he had a finance degree and a history in finance, and then I didn't know anything about marketing, so I brought on a partner who has tons of experience doing social media marketing, and I didn't know anything about ops, so I brought on a partner that has a portfolio and a resume of running businesses. So I didn't have to learn all these things, and we just went.
Yeah, perfect. Dylan's asking amazing monthly revenue. Can I ask what kind of margins?
It's about say we charge someone, it's about 70%.
70% profit.
75%. It could be closer to 90% if I didn't choose to hire more people.
So that's so 70% after what costs?
Everything. Yeah.
It's amazing, man. That's incredible. Aaron, did you say that dealerships prefer paying a retainer instead of a commission?
In my experience, yes. I can't say that across all of 158,000 US-based dealerships plus the 9,000 in the UK, but based on our own experience, that's what they seem to prefer.
Perfect. Can it be modified for Trustpilot and TripAdvisor?
You can. My advice would be like, if you can, stick with Google at the minute, because High Level have designed the entire reputation management system around Google, but they are bringing more stuff soon. You can obviously get the AI to send Trustpilot links instead of Google review links. You can edit the review shield so that it's a, Trustpilot thing as well. But just know that you won't get the AI analysis or the AI review replying unless you want to go build those things yourself. High level just does Google for now.
Yeah. Brett said, I worked getting clients manual reviews before AI, and the hardest part was getting them to sit down and actually write a review. Ever considered using AI so they can copy and paste it?
Well, this is why I said earlier about the because. So like when you're asking people for a review, it's a good idea to include a because. So if you just say, "Can you leave us a review?" someone's gonna be like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, sure," and then they don't. But if you say like, "Because we really need your help in getting our small local business out there known," then people are just more likely to do the thing.
Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of using the print charming SMS as well, right? Because it gets them engaged, and you get tons of replies, and the numbers are pretty good off the back of that. If you can actually get them to reply, that's kind of half the battle. How are you hosting the demo? Is this how you demo your clients? I can answer that one. So we've got a beta version of our SaaS company over in Roya at the moment, which we're testing. It's pretty cool. We're going to be talking more about this in the coming weeks. But Emma, that's
I was lucky enough to be one of the few testers of
well, it's pretty good, hey?
demo software. Yeah, you can all see it. It's great.
Dan, if I have debt consolidation clients in the US who want database reactivation service, can I partner up with you? Russell, not at this stage, mate. I would just do it yourself, man. You don't need me. Chris, how much do you charge for the AI review and feedback management system?
So yeah, we touched on this earlier, but we can go again in case you weren't around. It depends on who you're working with. So, if you're working with a 17-year-old who cleans cars, you can't charge him 10 grand a month. You can probably charge him between 197 and $500 a month, depending on how much he earns. The real answer is the bigger the business, the more you can charge, and also the positioning of your offer. So if I was working with a bunch of small barbershops, I'd probably try and just stack as many clients as I can on like $300 a month, because if they have a bad month, they can still afford it.
Yeah.
If I'm then going, to go a bit larger and maybe go after some big national or even regional barbershops, then we could charge a retainer to the group of businesses, and that could be like 5-10 grand a month that you'll take care of all the ones underneath. Or you can, do a real like long-term high level gameplay where you do everything around, I will help you increase revenue via customer feedback. And then we will look at the data from the last 5 years on how your revenue has increased. We include inflation into the calculations, and then whatever your revenue jumps up by based on year, is it unreasonable for me to ask for 10% of the additional growth? Again, that's like higher level stuff, but think with that what you will.
Yeah. Cool. Bartek asks, would this agent be better, easier, quicker way of putting your foot in the door rather than the offer of the century? I think I can help with that answer. When I do my coffee dates, that's the reason you might have seen me. I've got one up in YouTube where I did this with a live client, and I always open a notepad file while I'm talking. And I call it a doctor's diagnosis. I'm asking questions all the time, right? So I've asked a question and they say, we've got, 1,000 people in my database, and we haven't that's built up over 10 years, right? I wouldn't start with that as my offer, right? But if they've got really bad Google reviews for whatever reason, then I would start there. So it really depends where the pain is in the business. What have you experienced, Aaron? Are you still starting with the offer of the century?
So we always try and lead with
database. Yeah.
We always try and lead with database reactivation as a way to, drive the needle, low risk. We use the saying, we don't want to touch your new leads until we've got your stuff dialed in.
Perfect.
So even if you want it, you can't have it.
Yeah.
And then we use the customer experience as like a when I used to sell home security, if someone didn't want it, I would give them free key fobs to say yes. I'd be like, oh, these are worth £12.50 each, and I'll give you 10, and they would say yes. We use this in the same kind of way. So it would, if you don't want to use our database reactivation service, and you're struggling on price and value and all that stuff, and we really can't get you over the line, okay, well, you can have this too. But then also
Nice.
in other instances, we can offer it as its own like modular service in case they're not interested in sales.
Yeah. Brian has asked, he's congratulated you and curious if you do lead gen for your clients in order to reach that level of recurring revenue.
We have started doing like event-based ads. So we partnered with an agency that does like, weekend long events, try and get people in the store, and then we use AI to manage the DMs and the comments and then book all the appointments for them. Um,
Interesting.
and we're doing that like, once a quarter, and then we do it around like, Labor Day, bad credit sale and
Yeah.
Memorial
Yeah.
Day and Christmas, all that kind of stuff.
But it's a small part of your agency at the moment, right?
But I don't lean on the ads too much because honestly
Complicated.
it's complicated. It can get messy. What happens if you don't get them results? Like the cool thing about using AI the way we do it around here is that the resources are already there. They're just not being used. So like it's so much lower hanging fruit.
Mm. Yeah, very cool. I mean, I was the one that first started pay per lead, and I think I was the first one to sell a course on pay per lead maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And that was great, right? It was really good. And there's still people doing incredibly well with it. But when I saw this, like I was like, wow. And when we knew we could get results from clients' old leads that they'd given up on, I was like, man. And then because what we do and what I imagine you do, Aaron, is like you start with the database reactivation. As you start getting them results, you say, well, listen, we've got great results with your old stuff. What do you think about taking the new leads off you?
Yeah.
Right.
I approach it in such a way where I'm like, right, we're going to pull up your results and then a store of similar size that is running speed to lead. So you've been running 90 days now.
Yeah.
We know what's happening. All right, as you can see, we're getting like between 20 and 40% response rates on the dead data. With new data, we're getting between 70 and 80%. And then we out of the, people that reply with database reactivation, we're booking between like 1 and 8% of people, depending on the quality of the data. With its speed to lead, we're booking in 40%, 50% of people that reply.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
so like, this is why it's important to structure the process correctly. So even if you want speed to lead, you can't have it until we refine it, because once we get it nailed, it's gonna kill. Like,
Mm. Mm. That's incredible. Like someone said here that they're getting 80% response rate, 75% or whatever with the Prince Charming SMS. It just works. If you haven't used it yet, give it a go. All right, cool. What do you pitch first? I think I just answered that. What do you charge? We've answered that. If you're offering nothing else, what would you stick a price this at for a coffee test run? I think we've covered that too. Hey Aaron, some people leaving different store scores for say service scored 5, but quality might be 3. Can the Android separate them and highlight them then to a business?
so the important part is just to store the data somewhere to be able to see, and then use AI to write the notes on everything. So, if anyone that goes through the training, they'll see that I've built an AI note taker, which does a good summary of everything the conversation includes, and the next steps for a rep to actually take as part of the system.
Yeah, cool. By the way, Nat, can you put the Google Doc in the chat again if people have missed it? I hope that makes sense. If anyone's got some questions about that, please do ask here as well. And by the way, I'm just doing the Q&A box today because I try and do it with the messages and it's just a nightmare. Ash K's asked, what tools do you use to build the system for car dealerships?
High level NAN Google Sheets. That's it.
Easy. And that's all in the training.
Yeah.
What's your outreach method? This is a bit more about client getting, so we won't talk about that too much, but what does that look like?
So industry dependent. So for us, turning up in person, because the industry is an old school, a handshake thing. Dealerships have been around for 60, 70 years in some cases. They were there when telephones were invented. So they got hammered on being sold telephone services. The internet came around, they got hammered on being sold websites. Social media came around, they've been hammered by everything. So now we're at this point in life, like they only care about, do you have the balls to turn up and shake my hand? Because everyone that's ever made a promise to me in the past didn't. Hey, that's cool.
No.
But yeah, so that's what works for us, right?
Cool.
Like, it's just, but in other industries,
Probably depends. Yeah. Yeah. What helps is you have the offer of the century in your back pocket, right? Do you have any old leads we can turn into sales on a performance basis? And we do this on a performance basis, which means if you don't get paid, we don't get paid. Businesses love that, man. They don't say no. All right. So that segues nicely into Mike's question. Any advice for those of us having trouble getting started on the sales mindset, getting over the fear of finding and selling to clients? So, I've never done any cold outreach really in my life, right? I tap up my network. I tap up when I start something new, I don't mind talking about it with my friends and family. When I first started, I was shameless. I would just ask for help, ask for referrals, ask for people I know that knew businesses. And then I would go to what I call super connectors. And then when all of those ran out, I might consider putting some Facebook ads up or something like that. But they never do run out. So I think Mike's right. The fear is the hard part, right? So getting over the fear of reaching out and the fear of not being able to deliver on the product, and
Yeah.
that is why AI is so cool, right? Because AI does most of the work, and when you've got something like Agent Demo, which we're not going to talk about too much today, but that does the selling too, right? AI literally does the selling and the delivery, right? So you should never be scared of reaching out to businesses or asking for your friends and family to refer you to business owners because your offer's so good and AI is in your back pocket. There's my little sales pitch over.
So to get over my first initial fears, I just went on Google Maps and I cold called 100 businesses without any agenda.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that when I started this online thing. I just called them up and be like, "Hey, it's Aaron. How you doing?" See where the conversation went, and then eventually, like the fear kind of went away, and I realized, hey, business owners are just a bigger bunch of morons as regular people. So like, like, I'm a moron, you're a moron, no one knows what they're doing. So
Yeah, that's right. Just reach out to people, man, with that offer. I guarantee you'll get lots of people interested.
and then
Um,
I would say another one for me as well, like you said, is don't. I've never actually tried to get a client for myself ever. I've always figured out how to. Like, my thing is, how do I get other people to do the selling for me?
yeah,
So, like, always, hey, do you know anyone that? Not do you, it's do you know anyone? That's
I
what.
like it. That worked for you. How easy and hard is this to attach to the dealer CRMs?
Um, I wouldn't do it to the CRM for this stuff because that dealership CRMs are, sales or service, and we don't want negative feedback flooding into either.
Just a
We,
Google Sheet.
we want it to be taken care of by a separate team that are assigned to this stuff.
Yeah, so they get the Google Sheet and updates automatically. Yeah, perfect. Cool. Yes, the Reputation Android is an add-on to the management, the database reactivation. How do you know what to start the conversation with a prospective business? I think I answered that. It depends what pain they've got in their business, right? But I mean, you're in Tuscany for our event, right? Like we talked about this loads, and everything always boils back down to the DBR stuff, right? You always start there if you can. And all of this kind of getting your claws in and charging more and upsells and cross sells and really kind of getting them to a point where they cannot leave you, which is what we want. Um, you know, yeah, that's how it works. Okay, is this available for Roya members? We've got a little thread running in the Roya group, Jocelyn. If you're in Roya, this is on Guy High level. Is the reputation management Android an add-on? Oh, people are asking this, right? Are the triggers you watch for when looking for new dealership partners? Let's not talk too much about the sales. I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of people that want to land dealership clients. My advice and Aaron's advice is try and find someone that can connect you to dealerships.
Yeah, I've explained this to so many people at this point that have reached out. If you
Yeah.
have an in with dealerships, use that in. If you're doing it because you see Aaron do it and you don't do it because this is one of the hardest ever industries that I've ever worked in, and if I was to start over again, I would not do it. I would
Yeah.
do something way easier, like kitchens and bathrooms where the people were desperate for their businesses to grow. Dealerships do not care, and they're managed and ran by employees. They're not ran by owners. So that's one of the hardest things. It's taken us like 2 years to figure some of this stuff out. So if you want to skip the line and you don't have an into the dealership space, my advice is go somewhere easier. Trust me. And that's not because I'm trying to keep the lake to myself and keep all the fish. It's because I personally would not do it again. Like,
Yeah. And you don't need to choose a niche either, really. Like what you need to choose is your network, your friends and family who might know a business owner or own a business, right? They'll find your niche for you. Okay. Like you might fail the first 3 or 4 times, but then the fifth one is where you find your niche, right? And there's so many out there, right?
So in the early days, I did solar, roofing, tax, insurance, stuff insurance, life insurance, roofing, kitchens, bathrooms. What else did I do? I did R&D, tax things. I did so many different things. And the only reason that I was able to drive so far in the car dealership industry, no pun intended, was because the people that I'm working with have over 50 years experience in the industry. They speak the language. They know what time the dudes call their wives in the afternoon. They know what time they go to the toilet. Like they lived the life of the prospect. And that's why I was able to get as far with this space as I could.
Yeah.
So if you have someone in the car dealerships world that is that guy, go for it. But if you've got, if you're a dentist and you're planning on going after car dealerships and you know all about dentistry, don't change your knowledge. Like, don't start from scratch, right? You've spent however long learning about the dental industry. Lean on that advantage. The tools are just tools, right? Like, you can use any of these agents and AIs, and you just repurpose a couple lines in the prompt, and they work for any industry.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? Nick's got a good question. So would you recommend against doing this on someone's old data to get new reviews and feedback, even though the data is old?
I wouldn't go. It depends on what they bought.
Pardon?
It depends on what they bought. Like if it's something expensive, then you can probably go back a couple years. But if it's like, I don't know, if you bought a $15 charger to charge your phone, no,
Years ago. No,
yeah, like, I wouldn't do it. It depends on what they bought.
yeah.
100%.
Um, is the Android a new high-level snapshot? How does it integrate with the DBR Android?
I have built it so it just slots in on top of everything else. So like, I've spent probably 200 hours.
No way.
Yeah, man. Since we left Tuscany, I have not done another thing apart from this.
Oh my God, man, you're the man. Thanks so much. How much support comes with Aaron's training? This guy really doesn't sleep that much, and he's incredibly helpful. So I'm sure he's going to help you out. What's the deal there, mate?
So I said, well, we can do a weekly call for this. So
Really?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just figure out the date and the time, and we'll make sure
Okay.
it's not in my morning and not in Australia's 3 a.m.
Cool, man. That's cool. How does the Android know what the customer bought when it reaches out?
It's all in the training.
It's all in the training. Cool. Can we help e-commerce businesses with this?
We can help any business with this.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge for e-com businesses. Oh my God. Didn't even think of that. What level of high level do we need for this?
Anyone.
Anyone. Which platform did you use to hire talent? That's a random question.
Unrelenting networking.
My group, do you say?
No, just unrelenting networking and speaking to anyone and everyone. Like, if you think that you're going to find a star player with speaking to the first 5 people that you ever speak to, you're going to have 5 people, and let's just assume that person number 1 is 80% bad, person number 2 70% bad, 60% bad, 40% bad, 30% bad. Well, 30% bad is going to look way better than 100% bad, but the point is they're still bad. You need to speak to like as many people as humanly possible so that you can actually learn what makes good people and what makes bad people. And you need a big data set.
Yeah. Brian's asked if you had to start over again, this is for GTM, reputation manager, would you go broader and hit a certain revenue level at 25K a month or choose a vertical? I think my answer to that, Brian, is the same as the database stuff, right? Like sometimes your niche picks you, right? But you've got to get out there and solve problems for businesses. And that takes, you need to kiss a few frogs to get to that point. So lean on your network, and people say they don't have a warm network. That's bullshit. People know business owners. If you've got like 100 contacts in your phone, which is, minimal in this day and age. If you reached out to every one of them and said, I've started this new business, I'm doing some cool stuff with AI. I was wondering if you know any business owners I can cut you in on 25% for some recurring passive income, right? Like imagine how many people are going to say yes to this. And they're also super interested because it's AI and it's so current right now. That's where I would start. Oh, and you would be surprised at how much business you can generate, and your niche will pick you as long as you.
Remember what happened in Tuscany? You told everyone to reach out to their phone book, and then within an hour, it was like coffee date, coffee date, coffee date, 3 coffee dates, 2 coffee dates, coffee date, coffee date, coffee date, like around the room.
Big whales as well. Big whales. One of the guys reached out and he got the 152nd richest person a coffee date with him in the UK, and he was one space richer than the king. You know what I mean? That was fantastic. All right. How do you as part of how do you handle? Okay. I know N8N, but still have doubt that to grow such a level, does coding skill is it required?
No, you copy and paste the everything that I've built, and you follow the click by click instruction that I've recorded a very particular. I haven't recorded like a 3-hour video, and it's just watch this. I've recorded a video for each step.
Cool. People are asking for a copy of the presentation from Aaron today. I'm sure we'll put it into the replay, which will come out this week. How do you get the list of customers to contact from your client? Is that through Google Sheets or integrated with a CRM? So I guess he's asking how do you get, is it a CSV file of like 200 of their previous customers?
The majority of the time, yeah, it's just that. But it depends on the business, right? Like it's one of those ones that like, what color is your living room wall? Well, the answer is going to be different from every single person you speak to. So it's not like a one size fits all. Now, in the training, I have showed like 2 different ways to connect with speed to lead. So, pretty cool. And then I've also shown like a very good walkthrough on what to do when you get a CSV file and how to upload it and all that good stuff.
Yeah, nice. Those of us struggling to get started, what do you recommend I have in place before my first coffee date? Go through the Prince Charming challenge, right? That's what you need to do. And you need to have an open AI account, and you need to put the prompt inside the Prince Charming challenge in there so you can demo it to the client, the partner, prospective partner, and then AI will do the selling for you. That's all you need, right? And then go sell something and get started.
And if you're one of those people that says style bot does not work for me, because I hear that like 20 times a week, just when you've done putting your prompt into the system, hold the enter button until it disappears. That's a quick
Pretty
one.
easy fix, right?
Yeah. The amount of people that I've seen on the Roya Tech calls every week that go, I can't demo my client because the style bot's not working. And I go, watch this. Press enter 50 times and then your prompt disappears. Like sometimes that is as simple as everything that we do. Like overthink everything.
Anna's, she's got brownie points today. When does the AAA Ninjas and Roya stop being so amazing? So thanks so much for this, Aaron and Dan. Crazy value, amazing. Yeah, I mean the price you guys have been on here now to the Google Doc, $297. Like there'll be the gurus, the gurus out there would package this up and sell it for 5K. This product, that like it's like that was my question, right? And I've forgotten it now, but I wrote it down. But how much of your 123K or whatever it is a month do you think is attributed to this reviews?
Every single client uses this.
Every single client. And they probably wouldn't stick with you if they didn't have it.
It's debatable, but like I can assure you they wouldn't be as impressed with us if we wasn't running this.
Nice.
Like because getting clients is one thing, keeping them is another, and you keep them by offering them more.
Yeah. Do you spin up a new phone number for each client? Has a customer ever asked to use an existing mobile number they have?
There are ways around it. If you're serious about using stuff like that, go research my CRM sim, but like don't do it.
Yeah, get a new number for each client, right?
Yeah, keep everything under your umbrella because you have the ability to then take it all away. If the client ever starts giving you a headache and they own the phones or the numbers and all that stuff, it's like, but if you own 100% of everything, you have all leverage.
Yeah. Is the 297 a one-time or a monthly or a yearly? It's a one-time payment, Joe. Like this is, by the way, it's only going to be open till Friday at this price, I think.
We were going to do it for 600, and then
I talked you down.
Yeah,
because I want people to get this and start using it. Right, it's crazy good value. Where can I watch the recorded video? We'll send it out this week on YouTube. Um, all right. I think that's about it. I'm sure there's lots of questions in the chat, but please, if you type in the Q&A box, if you want your questions answered. Joe says, what happens if I already have a high level account? Even better.
Fine.
Yep, just import the snapshot.
That means you know how to use it, and I shouldn't hear support questions.
The training's meant to be really good as well. The guys have been through it and they said they're very impressed. Where can I watch the recorded video of a step-by-step process?
It's in the
In
training.
the course, obviously. Um,
I've also put together a setup portal for everyone, so everyone always complains that there's no checklist. Well, I've built a checklist inside the system.
yeah, yeah. Any tips for working with restaurants? This is huge. This would be huge for restaurants.
Yeah, as long as they book people and take their phone numbers, and if they don't, then it's your prerogative to make sure they do somehow and collect money for supplying that solution as well.
Is this link triggered via email or text message? I'm not sure what he means there. It's an SMS that goes out.
We send a text message, yeah.
Yeah.
But if
You
you're
can do it via email as well.
if the question is about like how does the agent get triggered, it can be triggered by like an infinite number of ways. It's just how is the client able to deliver you the information about their sold customers, and then we work around that. That's
Yeah. What are your thoughts on the hospitality industry? I mean, huge, absolutely huge.
any business that wants to get better.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you use high level to run audit scan of prospects' website to show review activity?
Say that again.
Can you use high level to run an audit scan of prospects' websites to show their review activity?
Well, you would just
Go to Google.
Yeah, you would just log into so you request access to their Google Business Manager, and then you log into Google with it, and then it runs a whole thing for you. You just log in and see it. You don't even need to, you just log in.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't need the agency level of high level. I mean, you'll need the 297 plan once you get past a certain number of clients, right?
$97 for the first 3 clients,
Yeah.
$297 for an unlimited amount of clients, and $497 if you want to get fancy and build automations to create new sub accounts. But like, don't think about $497 until you have more than 3 clients, or I'd say more than 2 clients, because you're probably going to want a sub account of your own. So like,
Yeah.
don't even. That's so far in the future. If you're thinking about $497 and you haven't got a client, don't waste your money. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Do you use your own OpenAI key or use the clients? Do you host your N8N automations or do you put them on their service?
I have 42 active clients right now. Each client sends an average of 25,000 messages a month, like in total, and I'm spending less than $1,000 a month on OpenAI tokens.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's nuts.
I get it's $250 every week. That's it, and that's
Okay.
that volume.
Serious volume. Yeah. Well, Siri just kicked off when I said serious. Is there going to be integrated with the agent demo along with DBR and speak to lead? I'm not allowed to talk about agent demo just yet, Francois. So we won't answer that question for the time being.
The answer right now is no. I've built this to be its own separate thing that you should just be able to install on top of everything that you're running and use it separately.
We'll speak to Jamie. I'm sure we can get in there. Aaron, dumb this down for me. You lead with DBR and somehow use the data to get better results for this new Android. Give us the elevator pitch.
Database reactivation so that we can, make money out of thin air with 0 risk without compromising any of your new leads. We use that to dial in any sales scripts at the same time. And then after the first couple of weeks, if there's any kind of friction, then we say, we'll do this as well as an additional service. And then if we're doing a good job, we say the same thing, but we go, we've also got this for you. So we use it as a tool to keep the customers longer. But sometimes in, unique instances, the customer's not interested in sales. Then what? We also have this kind of thing. So however, you got to be creative with how you use this stuff. Like you can run an entire agency and make millions. I learned a lot of what I know about reputation management from a lady in Australia who makes millions of dollars having people reply to Google reviews.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. Tom Metcalf asks, "Hey buddy, how you doing? What are the main objections companies have, and how do you handle them?"
you need to. It's not so much about objections. When you start with a good offer, like, the offer of the century. Like there aren't really many objections. The objections you hear are like about compliance, and the answer is always yes, we're covered by that.
Yeah, exactly. There's not many like I think that's a great thing about our offer, right? The offer of the century is when we ask for a big commission. I know it's different for car dealerships, right? But when we ask for a big slice of the profit, and they say, no way, we're not going to pay you half or 40% of the profit. Well, that's fine. Would you prefer 100% of nothing or, half of an extra 20K a month, right? Like they just go, oh, you got me, let's get started.
Or in one of my first examples, we did actually pick 50%, and it was a solar company, and they said no. And then we said, all right, let's start with 5. And then they paid us $20,000 2 weeks later.
Exactly.
So, because they made 214,000 or something like that.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
So cool. All right. Does the ChatGPT level matter?
No. So ChatGPT, imagine ChatGPT, the one where you go to chatgpt.com. That is not what we use here. It's like a completely different thing. Imagine you're like going and sticking your hand up ChatGPT's rear end and controlling it from another place. Like it's a completely different software.
Can you talk to me more about the bonus physical review collection kit? Do you know what that is?
Yeah. We'll get the link.
Oh, that's the thing you were talking about, right? The actual QR code that you put in the dealership.
Yeah, so I'm going to put that link in the chat. Just go there and have a look. He shouldn't need any more details than that.
Nice. Sub-account 1, Roya stuff, sub-account 2, reputation management, or can they both run in the same sub-account?
They can both run in the same sub-account.
Nice. All right.
So for those of you that are like familiar with how the system's built, if you're using Zapier or N8N, when you put the ChatGPT output inside of the ChatGPT field, imagine I've given that another name so that you can use it as well. And then I've done that with every single field, every single tag, every single custom value, every single workflow. I've done everything so that it should just be use this on top of.
Yeah, nice. We're going to finish up soon because it's getting late, but I wonder how much it costs to run your N8N environment with your current volume.
$33 a month because I got a good deal last year. The same N8N, the same server that I use now has gone up to about $55 a month, and I run about 1 million automations a month through it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
My expense hasn't changed since I first started using N8N.
Nice. There's lots of questions. There's lots of Roya members on this call. How do Roya members claim this Android? If you go to the top sticky post inside Roya, it explains how you can unlock this training. Okay, inside the Roya group. And we give it away for free after you help me and Aaron a little bit. Okay. All right. Okay, I think we're going to end it there, mate. Aaron, again, I just want to say a massive thank you, man, for all that you do. I'm sure people inside this community echo my sentiments there. You're an absolute star. You're an inspiration with the way that you've, done what you've done, right? It's just incredible. You were tenacious, and I love it. And I'm predicting really big things from you. Thanks a lot, man.
Hey, and I owe all of my thanks to you as well, bro.
No, man. No.
All of it. I'm playing ping pong here, man.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, everyone.
Everyone, take care.
I didn't know so many people would come, so I'm actually going to go off and cry a little. And I just saw the number.
Man, keep going.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks, John. Take care.
Pretty cool. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the webinar. Aaron's done some incredible things, very resourceful, and just gets at it, which I love. So within the webinar, I dropped a Google Doc. You'll find that in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed this webinar. Speak to you soon.